What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. As you saw, the beautiful sunrise, it's amazing. I want to start making an emphasis of coming out in the morning and starting the daily vlog with the outdoors, showing you guys the sunrise and kind of just waking up together. So today we are going to be hitting chest here in a couple hours. To start the workout, I'm actually going to pre-exhaust with some flies. I'm thinking probably just a normal fly setup, like on the pec deck machine. After that, I think we'll move on to some kind of incline press. I'm thinking some dumbbell incline press. I'm gonna start emphasizing that a little more often, just because I do a lot of barbell incline press, which I think is fine. But I think if I'm gonna be doing incline, I might as well be doing dumbbell, just because it's so much more effective of, getting that crazy stretch and also that crazy contraction up here. And I think what I really want to work on with my chest is obviously that upper chest area, but the biggest thing is getting that crazy upper chest to front delt tie-in. And I think the dumbbell press will help a lot with that. After that, I think we'll do an assortment of flies, whether that's incline or flat flies, I don't know which, maybe it'll be both. And then we'll wrap up the workout, or at least at some point during the workout, hit some lower chest with dips. I think dips are the best thing for your lower chest, and I've always seen tremendous gains, just developing my chest when I emphasize my upper chest with flies and incline press, and then also do dips. Besides that, you really don't need much else. Everything else is kind of just to get more blood into the muscle. But it's cold out here. I'm gonna go inside, get warmed up, get our day started, got some coffee going. If you're new to the channel, thank you for supporting me. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe as well. Comment down below at the end of the video what your favorite part was, or maybe just comment your name, introduce yourself so I can respond back to you. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Blaine Riley Lifts. Besides that, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm currently working on a Bible verse video right now, and I got the idea from actually an online church service that I watched yesterday for my church here that I go to at home. And basically the Bible verse is Zechariah 4:10, and it says, "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand." I think that's how you say his name. I might have butchered that. I know I said it right on the video that I'm editing though. Anyway, what I really like about this is it really correlates to like the new year, right? If you want to get into the gym or you want to start that business, just understand that like God loves to see you just start and like begin becoming a better person or chasing that dream that you might have. Now, I'm not saying those things should become an obsession in your life, but just know that God loves seeing you like take action and like take on these new adventures. And even though you might think that like what you're doing is so minuscule and small, just know that you're always going to compare yourself to like other people, and it's worth the effort in the end. This is way too zoomed in. So with the new year, I think it's very common for people to kind of fall into the same habits. Like each year they set goals for themselves, or at least in their head kind of have a general idea of what they want to do. And then they get into the heat of the year, they get busy with school and work and family issues, and maybe you have like a loss in the family or whatever it may be. Like, more of the story, you just get super busy and life consumes you, and then you realize at the end of the year, or maybe a month or two away from the end of the year, that like, oh crap, I haven't really like achieved everything that I was wanting to achieve. And to some extent, you have to like understand you never really even held yourself to that standard. For the most part, most people don't even write their goals down, right? So it's kind of tough to be upset that you didn't achieve those things that you never really even deemed important to begin with, right? If you don't write something down, then is it really important? If you had something really important you had to remember, no matter what it is, like if you had a really like smart business idea that meant a lot to you, you'd probably write it down. And I think the same thing goes for goals, right? You can't really be upset that you didn't really achieve those goals when, to begin with, you never wrote them down. I think a big thing that might seem goofy is just writing down your goals. Like literally this morning, I sat down and I'm like, okay, well, the first is tomorrow. I need to like put a plan down on paper. You know, even if it doesn't go according to what I have planned. Obviously, like I'm going to trust God's plan and trust his will and what he has planned for me, but I'm going to like get a general idea of what I want to do and maybe the process to do that. And in that, you are honestly kind of telling yourself subconsciously, and I think it actually is a trick, a scientifically proven trick. I think I remember reading it in a sports psychology book that I had to read for college. Basically, when you write down your goals, you're tricking your subconscious mind into thinking, okay, now this isn't just a thought anymore. This is a real thing. This is an attainable thing. And a key to writing your goals is to also change how you're writing them. And I know all this seems super goofy, right? I'm telling you to write down your goals. But the way you write them as well, if you, instead of saying, I wish I had this or I want this, instead when you write them, you say, I have this, I have achieved this. And this just all comes back to that same idea of tricking your subconscious mind into believing the goals that you have, even though you haven't achieved those things actually. Writing them down and actually saying, when you write them down, I have achieved this. Excuse me. For example, like one of my goals this year is to hit 1 million followers on Instagram. So I would write down, I have 1 million followers on Instagram. And, you know, as goofy as it may seem or as absurd of a goal as it might be, writing down a goal and actually like working towards it is so important, because you can come back and reflect on that goal. And you're going to still, you know, get in the heat of the year and still have those times when you completely forget about like whatever it may be that you want to achieve. But then more often than not, you're going to have times when you can go back and look at what you wrote down. And you can assess yourself from there. Like you can, you know, start picking it up if you're not achieving the things you want to achieve. And I think that's better than not having it at all, right? If you never have anything that you can look back on and like kind of reflect, okay, am I progressing at all, or am I achieving anything at all? If you don't have something you can reflect on, then it's just even easier to forget about your dreams and aspirations. And then, you know, one more year goes around and then another year goes around. And then before you know it, you've sat around for a decade and haven't really achieved any of the things that you wanted to achieve. And if you're a younger guy or girl like myself, like, you know, this time when you're, let's say, I know I probably have a younger crowd, let's say you're 15 to 25 years old, this is such an important time. Obviously, it's a good time to have fun and enjoy your life, but at the same time, you're setting yourself up for success, and you don't really want to waste these years. So I think it's very important for you to write down your goals, and even if they are a waste of time, like I can't tell you how many times I've looked back at goals or looked at things that I put a lot of time and effort into and realized, bro, I wasted so much time on that. But you don't realize how much, you know, let's say you have one goal, right? One goal is to reach 1 million followers on Instagram. And let's say in a year from now, I look back and I'm like, that was the biggest waste of time. One, I didn't achieve it. And two, you know, I got nothing from it, right? Most of the time when you gain followers, the common sense or common idea is that you'll feel like something different after. And most of the time you don't feel any different when you have more followers. So maybe I gain those followers, and at the end of the year I look back and I'm like, I don't feel any different. This was a waste of time. But the thing is you've grabbed so many small skills and so many small things from just that one goal that may have been a waste of time in your book in regards to like achieving that one thing, but the process of chasing that goal has brought about so many new things, so many new maybe skills and aspects and things that you know now, to where that useless goal was actually useful. So, you know, when you're writing down your goals, you might even be like almost doubting your aspirations and doubting your almost like your goal achieving abilities, which makes sense, right? We're all going to have some side of us that kind of lacks or disregards ourselves, we're always going to have like a part of us that kind of is that voice in the head, like, dude, there's no way you're going to achieve that. And that's fine to have, but understand, like, even if you don't achieve those crazy goals that you have for yourself, you're going to achieve something in that process. And if you have faith in God, right, you know that He's going to point you in the right direction. He's going to help you take away different parts and different pieces from things to help you become the person that you want to become. Even this morning when I was writing down my goals, before I even started, I just sat there and prayed for a minute and was like, God, like, I'm about to write down my goals for the 2025 year, and I just pray that, you know, you are here with me as I'm writing these down. You make sure that I put down on the paper what you want me to do with my life. You help me write down the things that I need to be doing to run the race that you have planned for me. And even if I write down an absurd goal, like, maybe something's in there that He wants me to achieve. So I wouldn't hold anything back. Be authentic, be honest with yourself, write down what you're thinking, and just ask for God's guidance during these times, not only of you planning, but also as you start to attack the goal and like achieve these things that you want to achieve. 1 year ago today, I had 0 followers on Instagram, no followers on YouTube. I wanted to be a fitness influencer my whole life. Basically, I've always recorded videos and done like vlogging, I guess you could say, when I was a kid, just kind of goofing around. And I finally decided to, you know, take the risk, set goals for myself, and within 1 year, I've completely changed my life. Now, like I said, followers and, you know, having fans and being semi-famous to an extent, I guess you could say, on Instagram doesn't change anything, right? Like, I'm not any more happy than I was, but, you know, it does build your confidence, right? I'm more confident in the fact that I can set goals for myself and achieve them. And once you have 1 year like that, right? Like, this year could be your year where you set a couple goals and you freaking achieve those goals, and that feels good, and that sets you up for so much success down the road as well. So all it takes is 1 year of setting 5 goals, and maybe you fail at 3 of those, or maybe you fail at 4 of those, but you achieve one of those big goals. That is huge. And then the next year that compounds, the next year that compounds. So I guess to make a long story long, write down your goals for the gym. Write down your fitness goals that you have for yourself. And even if it may seem like super unattainable, like maybe your goal is to lose 100 pounds this year, you know, maybe you lose 75 pounds, or maybe you even lose 50 pounds. Like, that's a step in the right direction. And it's so easy, especially with like fitness goals and the new year, right, to kind of disregard even your own fitness goals, because you know the trend, right, with New Year's. Like, you know, when the new year comes around, everyone's gonna have the New Year's resolution of getting skinny, or, you know, achieving that dream physique they've always wanted, and, you know, 90% of those people are not going to achieve that. So subconsciously you set those goals, but you're really like, I am probably not going to do that. I'm just going to fall to the same circumstances that everyone else falls to. So, you know, maybe differentiate yourself this time around. Write them down, you know, maybe slap it on the back of your bedroom door or on your refrigerator with some tape or something, so that every day you wake up and you see those goals, and you not only see them, but you're subconsciously thinking about them. So when you start getting to the craziness of life, maybe, you know, the holidays come around next year, or maybe this summer with 4th of July or whatever it may be, you kind of get caught up in eating and your diet's out the window and working out kind of goes out the window. But you have those goals to like see and be like, oh crap, you know, I gotta get back on it. Whereas like if you didn't have those written down somewhere, you just kind of get to the end of the year and be like, oh, I kind of forgot I was even aiming to do this. So write down your fitness goals, write down any goals really. But chest day, let's go ahead and get in there and kill it. or starting with flies, like I said earlier, to kind of pre-exhaust. And we're not like going super heavy on these just yet, you know, at least for the first 3 sets. And I'm not really sure how many we'll do, probably 4 to 5. And we might even come back to them later on just to kind of go a little heavier. But right now I'm really trying to focus on going super light, really thinking about squeezing and stretching the chest just to get like blood in there and kind of get warmed up for like a pressing motion. If I go right into a pressing motion, my front delts start to like just take over and then they'll start hurting. So doing this kind of like helps get that blood in the chest so that when I do move on to that pressing movement, you know, all that blood's already in the chest. It's a little bit easier just to like get moving into the movement. So even another thing with these is, I was talking earlier about the like front delt to pec tie-in, like having that huge shelf. So on my flies, I typically tend to kind of sit down lower so that fly isn't like down here, which a lot of people do, which is awesome. You still get a good contraction and everything, but because I'm trying to hit like that upper chest and like front delt area, like that big shelf, I tend to keep it a little higher. And I've seen great results from that. Sometimes I'll even lean forward and treat it like almost like I was doing like a fly on like an incline bench. I'll lean forward and kind of lean into that upper chest stretch. But for me, typically a little higher, big squeeze there. Almost like I'm thinking about squeezing my chains in between my chest. So I have necklaces here. I'm thinking about trying to squeeze those with my upper chest. Sometimes I wish you guys could just hear the music that I was listening to, instead of having to hear this music. And I don't feel like putting a bunch of fancy vlogging music over my videos, so I wish you guys could just hear like the remixes I'm listening to. Like right now, what do I got here? Right now I'm listening to the Marmari Emmanuel, Why Satan Hates Jesus. If you guys haven't listened to that playlist on SoundCloud, go check it out. It'll get you hyped. Get a life! Get a life! Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, man. All right, so we said we were gonna do dumbbell incline press, but they have this incline press here that kind of, I don't know what the terminology for it would be, but supinates in or comes in. Basically, it's basically a dumbbell press because it can really stretch out and then also comes in towards the top. So I'm gonna take advantage of having this just because it feels really good. You know, maybe on our next chest day, if we're at like Planet Fitness or something, we'll do dumbbells. But this feels really good. We'll stick on here for probably 3 really hard sets. That last set we'll do like a drop set. So we'll do failure, rest, failure, drop set on that 3rd set. And after that we'll be pretty fatigued. So we'll move on to flies and everything else dips. So now we're doing somewhat of a mix between a press and a fly. This is a good movement to like either start out with or kind of work in after like a really heavy pressing, because typically when you get further into your chest workout, your shoulders start to kind of give out. And this is nice because, if you were to do a dumbbell fly right now, later in the workout with a good amount of weight, you're gonna tear up your shoulders. At least for me, it really hurts my shoulders. So doing these, I'm basically coming out like I'm gonna fly out, and then at the very last second, I kind of let my shoulders dip, my elbows tuck back, and then basically press it back up. And this is kind of good because it's like almost like a really loaded fly without any of the gnarly tension on the shoulder and triceps. Like always though, anything else, a lot of it's feel. Some people don't do these because they still hurt their shoulders. Okay, so flies now. I consider flies to be like the compound movement for your lower chest. Typically you do like a heavy press like we did, whether that's flat or incline. So typically you're doing like a heavy press or some kind of compound movement for your middle and upper chest. But then you kind of typically will think, oh, I'm just gonna do like, maybe some high to low cable flies or something. But you could probably get a lot more work out of that lower pec by doing some dips, doing some weighted dips for sure. I haven't done weighted dips in a while, so we're gonna do one set starting out here and then see how it feels, and maybe we'll add some weight. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so coming back to just some basic pec deck. Again, going super low on the seat, so it's a little higher. And we're just gonna do some burnout here. I wish there was, I guess there is more ways you can complicate your chest day, but if you break it down right, a press of some kind, hopefully an incline press, a bunch of flies, maybe a lower chest movement like some dips or something, or some cable flies, and realistically you can have 3 movements and be in and out. Flies especially, like these, you could sit on this thing and adjust the seat, do different sorts of like leaning back, leaning forward, and hit your whole chest. So you can simplify it as much as you want. And obviously the more simple, the better. All right, so these are kind of just like a burnout, right? I think it's good to have some sort of like burnout or superset at the end of your workouts. Like, so for shoulders, like spamming outside raises, or for arms, like doing some sort of like, I don't know, bicep, tricep superset that's just gonna burn you out, super lightweight. I know a lot of people do the like bicep superset with a partner, right? You do like 10 curls and pass it off, and they do 10 curls and you keep going down in weight. But for these, basically just going light. Chest is already fried, so we're just going like right here. And having the weights together, and with it being really tight, it takes a lot of the, I guess you could say like limiting factors out of it. So it's really just a really condensed, just chest burnout. So what I like to think about when I'm doing these is not only, pushing up, but also pushing the weights into each other. So we might need to go into the locker room because I don't want to take my shirt off today because, well, I guess I'll show you. So we'll set a rule for ourselves when it's staffed like it is right now. Keep the shirt on so we don't get in trouble. But we can show the shoulder pump that came along with the chest workout. Feeling good. Let's go into the locker room, see if we can't show it a little better. All right, see if we can't figure out some lighting. That doesn't look too bad. Can't really see my little screen from all the way back here. Either way, who cares, right? All that matters is we have a good pump. So I keep cutting the hair shorter, which is fine. I like it shorter. I'm honestly gonna go even shorter than this. But it won't stay in a bun, which I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do like with that. Let's go ahead and see here. Speaking of hair, I need to shave my chest. I apologize about that. Got some little stragglers here. Honestly, you guys are probably like, what chest hair are you talking about? More than what I'm used to, that's for sure. That's one of those movements that if I can't see what I'm doing, super hard to actually hit a good side chest. Same with like a rear double bicep. If I can't see myself in the mirror, so hard to do. But yeah, pretty self-explanatory, right? Chest is pumped. You guys get the workout, right? You know, I think today's main takeaway is write your New Year's goals down, you know? Set some standards for yourself, and like I said earlier, you're gonna have times when you get caught up in life and maybe, you know, you're starting to deter away from those goals. But write them down, kind of trick your brain into believing them, whether it's goals in the gym or maybe it's financial goals or maybe it's goals with your family or whatever it may be. Write them down. Keep them to yourself if you want to. You don't got to tell anyone. And then work towards them and remind yourself of them. You know, maybe it's every day, maybe it's every week. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's chest workout. And I love you guys. Remember to go down in the description and check out all of my links to Instagram, TikTok, Synchronous, my clothing brand, all that craziness. I don't want to force all that stuff on you guys. I just want you guys to be here because you like watching me. So I love you guys. Remember to love God, lift weights, and live life. We'll see you next time. Boom.